What? Bang!
Pro Wrestling Podcast. Just when they think they got the answers, I change the question.
Rep, screwed, rep.
Yeah.
Woo!
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Did he do it? Unbelievable.
Too hot to handle and too cold to hold. And I am Macho King Savage.
Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty. I said WWE stands for...
It's me, Austin.
I will never retire.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, welcome to the show where we don't sing it, we bring it, help us out, and click subscribe to show your support. Hey, look, are you sick and tired of dropping $60 to $100 for the latest and greatest wrestling game? Stop immediately. Go to Wrestler Unstoppable, available totally free app.wrestlerunstoppable.com, where you can create a wrestler, sign contracts, get into storyline, headline PLEs, even create your own organization from the ground up, all included, totally free. Once again, that's app.wrestlerunstoppable.com. Now, if you want to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family, want your name in the shout-outs like my good buddy John in Texas and Emily, then you got to pop over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/Pro Wrestling Podcast. Sign up today. We got loyalty rewards. If you're a $15 a month contributor, you can co-host a show with me. $7.50 a month. Enter into a drawing to also co-host with myself. But for today, thank you for joining us for this last-minute snap episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. By the way, if you've got questions, comments, something you want me to touch on in a future episode, give me a shout over to Pro Wrestling Sound Off line 267-642-1160, and I will get to those in a future episode. But right now, we are putting out the conversation related to Mick Foley. On a previous episode, we discussed the fact that there was conversation about when Mick Foley's contract, his Legends deal with WWE was up, he was planning to part way with the company because he was upset with their closeness to President of the United States, Donald Trump. He wanted to get away from that. It's not something he could be supportive of. It's not aligned with his values. And it sounds as though that time has come to pass. Now, Mick Foley has been announced as working the opening 0 hour with Renee Paquette for AEW Double or Nothing. This is a huge get for AEW if they have something serviceable for him to do. The question all along has been, if Mick Foley were to go there, what is it that they're going to have him do? What on-screen position would he have? Would he be an authority figure? Would he be a manager? What would he do? And Tony Khan has had a history of bringing in past WWE legends to participate in some way, shape, or form. That's why The Big Show is there. Mark Henry was there. Various people have been there over the years. Arn Anderson, stuff like that. We seemed like it may be another one of those, but this sounds like maybe because of his incredible wit and how intelligent this man is and his lyrical style. He's he's just got such a captivating way of doing commentary. It sounds like this may be the role for him. He's going to be doing some form of commentary, hopefully going forward, because Tony Khan's announcement about this has not said that Mick Foley is all elite. Okay, let's be clear. It hasn't said that. But it did say his first night, which in a way would imply that there will be other nights, which I hope is the case. I'd love to see Mick Foley heavily involved. He's incredible. He always has been. If you've never met the guy, I had the privilege of meeting him at Lockdown in Philadelphia a few years back, the year that he wrestled Sting in TNA for the TNA World Championship. He was such a nice guy, super personable, super approachable. He's never let the fame and the fortune go to his head. He's just a down-to-earth dude. I love seeing somebody like that who wants to give back to the business, wants to be a part of the show, and wants to do something that matters, and Whether you agree with him or don't agree with him politically, that is for you to decide. On this show, we will never tell you what to believe, who you should side with or not side with. If you're a pro-Trump person, an anti-Trump person, that is up to you to decide. But you have to give kudos to somebody who's willing to put their career on the line for their political perspective and things that they don't align with. So regardless of how I feel personally, which I never divulge here, or how anybody feels personally, you certainly have to respect someone who puts their moral fiber ahead of the dollar sign. And I love that he's doing that, no matter how you fall, because there's not a lot of people these days, it seems, in mass media or in powerful positions who stick to their moral fiber. Not when it comes at the expense of cash. It just doesn't seem to happen as frequently. So I'm really proud of him for being so true to who he is and really trying to make a statement with ending his time with WWE. And look, I'm sure it's relatively amicable. Maybe he'll go to AEW for a few years. Maybe he'll come back to WWE at some point. Maybe not. Maybe TKO doesn't care. Maybe Triple H doesn't care. I don't know. But I do love seeing the opportunity to have him on camera. Now, I know a couple years ago there was conversation about a match with he and MJF. I don't know how I feel about that now. Word came out he had some scans done and the doctors were not in favor of that. So I don't know that we'll ever see that, but I certainly would not be necessarily opposed to it if done correctly. But either way, I think even if it's just doing commentary and being in this backstage role, I still think Mick Foley brings a lot to the table, a lot to the conversation, and provides valuable insight with all of his experience in the business. And let's be honest, when you think about the AEW product, his wrestling style is much more aligned with AEW than it is WWE. Maybe not back in the Attitude Era when he wrestled. Back then, WWE was going for a more risque product and a more hard-hitting, reality-based product, heavily influenced by ECW and things like that. But nowadays, it's less like that. It's more family friendly, more, pyro and entrances and, lots of commercials and not nearly as much wrestling action, and certainly not as much of the violence and the blood and the gore, where AEW, we do see a lot more of that. So I think Mick Foley is a great fit for this, and I wish him nothing but the best in this opportunity he's taking to, basically reinvent himself. And, this is not like a grab a paycheck kind of thing. I feel like he legitimately wants to contribute in some way, shape, or form. And Tony Khan probably put together an offer that was very advantageous that he can work with. And if you look at the way Tony Khan and Mick Foley have represented themselves in the past, whether that was conversations about people who are, more controversial wrestling figures like Hulk Hogan or things like that, I feel like they have always seemed to be relatively in lockstep in terms of how they feel politically and socially. So I think it's probably a match made in heaven. So kudos to Mick Foley. I'm glad that he's going to get the opportunity to do that, and we'll have to see how it plays out over time. But for in the meantime, I'm really happy for the guy. I hope he really enjoys this opportunity and makes the most of it. For now, that's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next episode where we run down the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks, as always, go to Suno for creating the music and sound effects I use in my show. Yeah, the promotional credit goes to Beazle Games. They bring out the game Sketchy People. You got to pick up a copy by going to thegamecrafter.com and snag this. If you want to bring a new game to family game night, this is the one. Sketchy People. Check it out at thegamecrafter.com. If you're looking to maybe get into some other career, next for your career decision, maybe you're thinking about going to college, something like that, check out our website, frolifeplanning.com, for all your higher education needs. We're there for career planning, college planning, just trying to find you that formal training you might need to take that next step in whatever trajectory you have. Pop over frolifeplanning.com for all your higher education needs, as Fro-Life educational planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro-Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Dr. Fro. I want to thank you so much for taking some time with us today. Until next time, take care, everybody. Have a great night.